Life message today is titled, The Ideal Made Real. The Ideal Made Real. And we're going to take some words here from the great Christian D Larson, and we're going to think about what he's telling us today. He's going to give us some essentials for us to make the ideal real. You know, the Mastermind Jesus tells us that the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God is within us. So we find that ideal in our mind first, and we think about what it is that we want to do, what it is that we want to have, how it is that we want to live, the feeling of joy that we want to increase in our life, and health and happiness and prosperity, all those things. So we're going to realize today how to make that ideal made real, get that ideal made real, from looking at this wisdom from the great Christian D Larson. If we wish to reach our ideals in the world of achievement, we must develop greater ability, capacity, and power. If we desire better environments, we must not only learn to appreciate the beautiful, but we must also develop the power to produce those things that have true quality, high worth, and real superiority. The great secret is to become more useful in the world, that is, useful in the largest and highest sense of that term. So those who give their best to the world will receive the best in return. If the proper beginning is made, the subsequent results will not only be greater and be realized in less time, but much useless experience and delay will be avoided. Let's look at this again. If the proper beginning is made, the subsequent results will not only be greater and be realized in less time, but much useless experience and delay will be avoided. So let's look at these 7 principles or prime essentials that Christian D Larson is going to give us today. The first one he tells us is to learn to be still. Learn to be still. When you undertake to live an ideal life and seek to promote your advancement in every direction, you will find that much cannot be gained until your entire being is placed in a proper condition for growth. The reason being that the ideal is ever advancing toward higher ideals, and you must improve yourself before you can have your better life. It has been found that all laws of growth require order, harmony, and stillness for proper action. Therefore, to live peacefully, think peacefully, act peacefully, and speak peacefully are important essentials. This will not only put the entire being into the proper condition for growth, but will also conserve energy, and when you begin to live the larger life, you will want to use properly all your forces, neither misusing or wasting anything. To acquire stillness, never try hard, but simply exercise general self-control in everything you do. Never be anxious about results, and they will come with less effort and in less time. Whenever you have a moment to spare, relax the whole person, mind, body, and spirit, and just let everything fall into the easiest position possible. Make no effort to relax, just simply let go. So long as you try to relax, you will not succeed. While in this relaxed condition, be quiet, do not move a muscle, breathe deeply but gently, and think only of peace and stillness. Before you go to sleep at night, relax your entire system, mind, body, and spirit, and fall asleep with peace in your mind. Bathe your mind and body, so to speak, in the crystal sea of the beautiful calm. These methods alone will work wonders in a few weeks. While you are at work, hold yourself from anxious hurry or disturbed action. Work in the attitude of poise, and you will accomplish much more in the same given time, and you will be a far better worker. You will accomplish a great deal more. Train yourself to come into the realization of perfect peace by gently holding a deep, strong desire for peace, and by ordering all your actions to harmonize with the peaceful goal in view. The result will be the peace that passes understanding, and for this alone your gratitude will be both endless and boundless. And we want to choose to rejoice and be glad. Let's choose to rejoice and be glad. Christian D Larson gives us 7 prime essentials to make our ideal real. And the number 2 is to rejoice and be glad. Cheerfulness is not only a good medicine, but it is food for mind and body. The cheerful life will fill every atom with new life, every tissue and muscle of our body, and it is the faculties of the mind what sunshine is to the flowers and trees. To be happy always is one of the greatest things that anyone can do, and there are few things that are more profitable in every sense of that term. No matter what comes, be glad and live in the conviction that all things are working together for good for you. As your conviction is, so is your faith, and as your faith is, so it will be done unto you. When you live in the conviction that all things are working together for good, you will cause all things to work together for good, and you will understand the reason why when you begin to apply the real science of ideal living. No matter how dark the cloud, look for the silver lining. It is there, and when you always look at the bright side of things, you develop a brightness in yourself. This brightness and strength, this brightness will strengthen all your faculties so that you can easily overcome what obstacles may be in your way, and thus, once again, gain the victory desired. Direct your attention constantly to the bright side of things. Refuse absolutely to consider any other way. At first, this may not be possible in the absolute sense, but perseverance never fails to win. However, do not try hard. Gently direct your attention to the bright side and know that you can. Before long, it will be second nature for you to live on the sunny side of life, and the value of this attainment is very great. First, because joyousness will increase life, power, energy, and force. This we all know from personal experience that we wish to have all the life and power that we can possibly secure. Second, because the happiest soul never worries, which is a great gain. Worry has crippled thousands of fine minds and brought millions to an early grave. We simply cannot afford to worry and must never do so under any condition whatsoever. If we have that habit, we can remove it at once by the proper antidote, which is joyousness. And after we have trained ourselves to look only for the bright and the best will come to us, because we will be using our powers to bring those very things to pass. The power that God has given us, the intelligence, the wisdom, the strength, most of all, the faith. Because we will be using our power to bring those things to pass. Therefore, rejoice and be glad every moment. Let your heart and your soul sing at all times. When you do not feel the joyous music within, produce it with your own imagination, and before long it will come of itself with greater and greater abundance. Your soul will want to sing because it feels music, and there are few joys that equal the joy that comes when music is felt in the soul. There are so many things that are sweet and beautiful in life that when we once find the key to harmony, we shall always rejoice. In the meantime, be happy for the good you have found, and through that very attitude, you will develop the power to attract better things than you ever had before. This personal existence is brimful of good things, and happy souls will find them all. Just as Jesus said, these things I do, and greater things still that shall you do than you've ever done before, when you keep faith with God and you keep in tune with the infinite good, with the infinite spirit and power and intelligence that seeks to express the good through you, as you, and for you. So let it be done unto you as you believe. So Christian D Larson tells us the number 3 prime essential to make our ideal real is to love everybody and be kind. Love everybody and be kind. If you wish your path to be strewn with roses, just be kind. Give your best to the world, and the best will come to you without fail. If it has not come today, never mind, just go on being kind and refuse to consider disappointments. Never hold in your mind those things that you do not wish to retain. Therefore, cause those things to pass away. This shall also pass away is true of everything that is not pleasant. But unpleasant things will not pass away so long as we hold them in thought. That which you let go from in your mind will pass away from you entirely. Train yourself to be kind in a permanent state of mind, because you cannot afford to criticize, condemn, or be angry at any time. We know that anger not only disturbs the mind, but also destroys the cells of the body, and no one can be angry without losing a great deal of life and energy. To find fault with someone or something or with ourselves never pays. It simply brings discord and criticisms, and besides the faults we constantly see in others, will develop in ourselves. The critical mind is destructive, and the critical attitude is weakening to the entire system. Therefore, no one can be his best who permits themselves to think or talk about the flaws of life. Be good and kind to everybody. It is one of the royal paths to happiness and peace. When anyone does wrong, do not condemn. Help them out. Help them find a better way. Cast your bread upon the waters, as Jesus said, and it will surely return, sometimes more quickly than you expected. Therefore, give abundantly of all that is best in your life, and nothing is better than kindness and love. When you begin to live an ideal life, you will desire more and more to live in the largest life possible, and to accomplish this, you must learn to be much to everybody. You must learn to be much to everybody. Your purpose must be to be useful in the largest and truest sense of that term, and nothing can promote this purpose so thoroughly and so extensively as universal kindness. This does not imply, however, that you are to permit yourself to be imposed upon or unjustly used by the unscrupulous. It is our duty as well as our privilege to demand the right at all times and to demand justice for everybody and from everybody. But this should be done in kindness, with the antagonistic attitude eliminated. The love that loves everybody is not the love that seeks to gain some personal possession or some object of affection. We refer to that larger kindness that excludes no one from our whole soul's good wishes. This form of love is the greatest power in the world, and the one who loves the most in this larger, truer sense will accomplish the most. The reason why is found in the fact that a great love invariably brings out all that is large, all that is great and extraordinary in human nature. To state that the one who takes the greatest interest in the welfare of the world does the most to promote his own interests may seem to be a contradiction of terms, but it is true. And it proves conclusively that the one who gives his best to the world will invariably receive the best in return. So never permit yourself to say that you cannot love every creature that lives, and say that you do love everything that lives and mean it. What you say you are doing that you will find yourself doing. This greater love illumines the mind, gives new life to every fiber of your being, removes almost every burden, and eases the whole path of existence. Love removes entirely all anger, hatred, revenge, ill will, and similar states. A matter of great importance, for no one can live an ideal life while such states of mind remain. To have a sweet temper and a loving disposition and a kind heart is worth more than tons of gold. We are all finding this to be true, and we realize fully that the person who loves everybody with that larger loving kindness has taken a long step upward into that life that is the real life. This is not a mere sentiment. This is not just flowery words, but the expression of an exact scientific fact. A strong, continuous love will bring all good to anyone who lives and acts as he inwardly feels. Or as we know that Emerson tells us, and we read from the Scripture, that love in God. Love is God, God is love. Love is synonymous with God. Love is synonymous with God. So as we go to Christian D Larson's 7 essentials, prime essentials, to make our ideal real, we now go to the prime essential number 4. Have faith in abundance. Have faith in abundance. Have faith that we can call on God. Have faith that we can call on God. Have faith in God. Have faith in yourself. Have faith in everybody. Have faith in faith. Believe in everything, and you relate yourself to the best that is in everything. We all know the value of self-confidence, but faith is infinitely deeper, larger, and higher. Self-confidence helps us to believe in ourselves as we are at present, and thus helps us to make a better use of the talents we now possess. But faith elevates the mind into the consciousness of our larger and superior possibilities, and therefore increases perpetually the power, the capacity, the wisdom, the intelligence, and the efficiency of the talents we now possess. Faith brings out the best that is within us and puts that best to work right now, right where we are. Those who follow faith may frequently go out upon the seeming void, that means into uncertainty, but they always find the solid rock. They always find the solid rock. The reason is that faith has superior vision and goes instinctively to the very thing we desire to find. Faith does not expect things to come of themselves. Faith never stands and waits. It does things that while at work believes that the goal will be reached and the undertaking accomplished. The person who works in the attitude of faith can never fail, because through faith we draw upon the inexhaustible. The person who works in the attitude of doubt can never be at their best. Through the feeling of doubt, we lower our own ability. It holds us back from our best power and holds us back from employing that greater portion of our capacity. But the one who works in faith will press on to the very limit of their present capacity and then go on further still, because the more faith we have, the more fully we realize there is no limit to our capacity. That the seeming void that lies before is positively solid rock all the way, and that we may safely proceed. Whatever you do, believe that you can succeed in it, and do not for a moment permit yourself to doubt. Know that the ideal, that the infinite is forming that ideal for you in your mind and your awareness, that the Spirit is being made manifest in that good desire in your heart, and that you live in the universal and you have the boundless upon which to draw for supply. If people or things do not conform or come up to your ideal, never mind, give them time. Continue to have faith in their better selves. They will also scale the heights. Expect them all to do their best, and most of them will do so. The others will soon follow, if you live in the faith that they will. The unbounded faith of one soul can elevate the lives of thousands. This is a statement that is just as true as it is great, and we should constantly give it the highest place in our mind. The one who has faith in the whole race is an inspiration to everybody. Many a person has risen rapidly in the scale because someone had faith in them. Faith is the greatest elevating power that we know in the world. Faith can convert any failure into success and can promote the advancement of everybody, no matter what the circumstances may be. So keep faith with yourself, and you will advance as you never advanced before. Keep faith in others, and they will inevitably follow. Have faith in the infinite, and the supreme power that is God will always be with you. This power will see you through, whatever your goal may be. Therefore, if you would enter the new life, the better life, the ideal life, and inspire others to do the same, have faith in abundance. Have faith in abundance. So let's move right along here, and let's just realize that all this is just giving us that greater idea of just how powerful we are in the Spirit, just as the Mastermind Jesus tells us, just as every great mystic throughout the Holy Bible, throughout the Torah and the Bhagavad Gita has given us that wisdom, just as Plato gave it to us. Christian D Larson is telling us in these writings about the ideal made real, the ideal made real. He's following in those words of the Mastermind Jesus, that these things I do, and greater things still shall you do. Greater things still shall you do. Greater things still shall you do. So what is the greater things still that we want to do? Do we want to live in more peace and more harmony, more joy? And Christian D Larson is telling us and to love everybody. Love everybody and everything that God has created, knowing that God has created everything good and very good. And even if our mind gets twisted in some way and we become critical of what God has created, we can let go of that criticism and let the peace and the love of God, the peace and love of the Spirit, the mind, the intelligence, the power of God, of the Spirit, move through our mind, our heart, and our soul in a greater way and lift us up into that higher realm of loving everyone. Love everybody. Love one another, just as the Mastermind Jesus said, because when we love one another, when we love everything, we're loving it because it is part of God. In God we live and move and have our being. And in us, in every living thing, there is a part of God's Spirit, God's power, God's intelligence. And as we recognize it, even if the people around us do not recognize it within themselves, we will lift them up, and invariably, in the right and perfect time, they will come to that same recognition of that higher truth about themselves. But let's begin right now, right where we are, doing the things that we do today. Let's bring in that great faith and certainty of knowing, that confidence and that conviction that we can make our ideal real right now, beginning right now. Begin to love everybody. Keep peace and joy in your heart. Keep faith with God. Keep faith with...
This has been The Way to a Wonderful Life.